Taiwan is downplaying a media report that U.S. President Donald Trump has declined to approve a large military aid package. Homegrown weapons systems on display at a Taipei defense exhibition, part of Taiwan's efforts to become more self-reliant.
TikTok 在台湾落地，最主要的问题是演算法不透明，无论官方还是民意代表都难以及时监管。
去用禁止的思维，我觉得还不如去思考我们如何创造我们属于中华民国台湾自己在社群服务上的竞争力。
Should TikTok be banned in Taiwan? Users and lawmakers say no, but concerns about the Chinese app's influence are raising questions. Plus,
earthquakes, landslides, typhoons, people on the northern coast of Taiwan know them well. And today at the National Disaster Prevention Drills, they are better prepared for the worst.
welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Yvonne Young. Taiwan is downplaying a U.S. media report that President Donald Trump has declined to approve a large military aid package for the country, saying that bilateral security cooperation is still ongoing. But the report comes just hours before a planned phone call between Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping, sparking concern and speculation in Taiwan. Cadence Coranta has more.
The Washington Post, citing people familiar with the matter, has reported that U.S. President Donald Trump has declined to approve a military aid package for Taiwan worth more than $400 million US. The package would have included items like munitions and autonomous drones. The White House said in a statement that this decision has not yet been finalized. It's unclear why Trump reportedly made this decision, but it comes as the U.S. is in the middle of negotiating deals with China on trade and Chinese-owned social media app TikTok, as well as a potential meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping this fall. Trump and Xi are also expected to have a phone call on Friday to discuss some of these issues. In response, Taiwan's government emphasized that U.S.-Taiwan security cooperation is still going strong, including the statement from the Defense Ministry.
台美双方维持紧密的安全合作机制，各项交流计划都依照节点在执行。美国对我国所提供的军售以及军援的项目，有助于提升防卫战力，也展现了美国维护台海安全的坚实承诺。感谢美方长久以来对台湾强化国防能力的支持。
Taiwan's presidential office also stressed that Taiwan and the U.S. work closely on security issues. It said Taiwan is committed to bolstering its self-defense capabilities and will continue to work with the U.S. to maintain stability in the region. Taiwan's foreign ministry echoed these statements. Despite Taipei's reassurances, the latest report is likely unwelcome news for Taiwan, which faces continuous threats from China. Beijing claims Taiwan as its territory and has threatened to take it by force if necessary. This also isn't the first time we've seen reports of the Trump administration appearing to undercut relations with Taiwan during trade negotiations with China. In July, the Trump administration reportedly blocked Taiwan President Lai Ching-te from making stopovers in the U.S. on his way to visit allies in Central America after China objected to the visit. And in June, the Trump administration also reportedly canceled a planned meeting in the U.S. with Taiwan's defense minister. The U.S. has been a big backer of Taiwan's security. Under former President Joe Biden, the U.S. approved several large aid packages to Taiwan. But the Trump administration seems to have taken a different approach, emphasizing that Taiwan and other partners should pay for the weapons they receive. It has also repeatedly urged Taiwan to increase its defense spending. More broadly, the Trump administration has also been less clear on its stance on Taiwan's security, sparking some concerns whether it would support Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion. And although this latest development is significant, it's still unclear whether or not it signals a broader shift in U.S. policy towards Taiwan's security. So we'll just have to wait and see how this plays out. Joseph Wu, John Su, and Cadence Coranta for TaiwanPlus.
This year's Taipei Aerospace and Defense Industry Exhibition highlights several of Taiwan's homegrown weapon systems. It's part of the country's efforts to become more self-reliant as tensions with China rise. Alan Liu takes us inside.
Low cost, mass produced, and most importantly, developed with Taiwanese chips. This mock-up of a future anti-ship cruise missile was on display at this year's Taipei Aerospace and Defense Industry Exhibition. Its developers, a collab between the US and Taiwan, say it'll be vehicle-mounted for quick deployment and capable of overwhelming and then sinking enemy ships. It's part of Taiwan's plan to develop indigenous weapons leveraging the country's chip industry.
透过台湾在晶片制造的优势，还有我们的工业制造的能力，我们如果能够把它模组化的设计完备，那这样的生产线的复制就可以让整个成本下降下来。
China claims Taiwan as its territory and has not ruled out using force to take control of the country. That's why Taiwan plans to build this missile without Chinese components or supply chains, instead turning to local manufacturers and democratic allies.
那我们就应该要能找到更多的选项，所谓的替代料件，甚至是优于原来规格的替代料件。所以选择更多的 solution， 确保我们供应链的满足。
Taiwan's focus on self-reliance is being applied to other weapons as well, in particular its fleet of unmanned aerial and naval systems.
Another example of Taiwan's homegrown systems is this 9-meter-long drone boat. With its powerful engine, low profile, and the ability to deploy attack drones, it is fast, stealthy, and lethal.
Aside from the engine, which is imported, 90% of this craft is made locally. But sticking to the non-China supply chain comes with its own challenges.
比如说，我们这条船，我们现在的通信的部分，那因为有些通信的组件，传统在大疆这些无人船、无人机，他们这些元件，他们都是全球的主要供应商。那我们要去避过这个，要去找另外一家厂商来开发，投入的成本就会拉高。
Although self-reliance will come with a steep price tag for Taiwan, it could also create opportunities. Many of Taiwan's international partners also want to break China's monopoly over specialized components.
We are more secure, reliable, and we won't weaponize our supply chain. So make Taiwan's component irreplaceable is what we can size the opportunity for non-res supply chain.
And while potential business is a value added, Taiwan's defense plans are focused on national security. And with billions of US dollars hardware already on display now in Taipei, Taiwan is clear that it's a price the country is willing to pay. Alex Chen and Ellen Lu for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's Supreme Court has upheld prison sentences for 3 pro-China Unification Party members on national security charges in a final ruling that cannot be appealed. The ringleader is a high-ranking official of the Chinese Unification Promotion Party. He was first recruited by the Chinese Communist Party in 2016 while on a business trip in China. He later recruited 2 retired Taiwanese military officers, and together they tried to lure more military personnel into helping the CCP to build spy networks in Taiwan. The Supreme Court upheld their prison sentences of between 6 months and 1 year. 6 members of Taiwan's main opposition party, the Kuomintang, have thrown their hats into the ring for next month's party leadership election. Notable candidates include Caucus Secretary General Luo Zhiqiang, as well as former Taipei Mayor Hao Longbing. KMT Caucus Whip Fu Kunqi was initially rumored to be interested in running, but chose to bow out at the last minute. The election could be consequential for the KMT, as the new chair is expected to lead the party through next year's local elections and the 2028 presidential race. U.S. President Donald Trump has wrapped up a second state visit to the UK. During his trip, he and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer signed a multi-billion-dollar tech investment agreement. Now, back in Washington, Trump is getting ready for a phone call with Chinese President Xi Jinping on Friday. John Van Trieste has this report.
U.S. President Donald Trump prepares to step back onto U.S. soil after a state visit to the UK. This, his second state visit to the UK, could add new energy to an old alliance amid differences on foreign policy and U.S. tariffs on British steel. In the presence of U.S. and UK business leaders, Trump and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer have signed a deal that will spur $205 billion in U.S. tech investment into the UK. And that's just part of a bigger string of deals worth £250 billion, or roughly $340 billion. There's nuclear energy, there's quantum computing, and then there's AI.
So we're taking the next logical step with a historic agreement on science and technology partnerships, and this will create new government, academic, and private sector cooperation in areas such as AI, which is taking over the world.
Starmer and other British officials are looking at the deal with optimism.
And just look at what we're achieving today together. The deals and investment that you're announcing today break all records. What a day. £250 billion flowing both ways across the Atlantic. It is the biggest investment package of its kind in British history by a country mile.
But there was other business to attend to amid the mutual congratulations. During the pomp-filled visit, the two leaders talked energy, migration, Ukraine, Gaza, and U.S. tariffs. And Trump also had an announcement to make about U.S.-China ties, specifically the tussle over TikTok. Trump's administration had threatened to ban the app unless its Chinese owner ByteDance sells to a U.S. owner.
So what we're doing, and we're speaking to President Xi on Friday to see if we can finalize something on TikTok, because there is tremendous value, and I hate to give away value, but I like TikTok. It helped get me elected.
Despite protests in London against Trump's visit, officially at least, ties between the U.S. and U.K. seem to be warming, even in the era of America First. Klein Wang and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
As the U.S. and China are closing in on a deal to transfer TikTok to a U.S. owner, the popular social media app has raised national security concerns in Washington and in Taipei. Tiffany Wang reports.
TikTok, one of the most popular apps in the world, has been at the center of tensions between the U.S. and China. The Chinese-owned app has 170 million users in the U.S., casting huge influence via screens everywhere. Estimates show that in Taiwan, over a third of the population uses it, and that figure is highest in younger age groups. It's an impressive reach with dangerous implications. According to one study of young TikTok users in Taiwan, the Chinese-owned app pushes China-friendly political content, sometimes even stirring public distrust in Taiwanese politicians. That messaging influences Taiwanese people's opinions of their government, political parties, and even their views on China.
I think one of the key points that TikTok often wanted to, or what we call the information manipulation, trying to deliver through TikTok to Taiwanese society is to emphasize the image that even though being unified, there will have no significant change for normal citizen. And the results actually surprised us as well, because it did making people become more pro-China, become more have a positive image about PRC's governance, and also making people have more skepticism ideas to Taiwanese citizens and Taiwanese governance.
In January, TikTok temporarily went dark in the U.S. when its Chinese parent company ByteDance couldn't meet a deadline to divest from the U.S. headquartered app. The U.S. government's demands were met with resistance from users, with hundreds of thousands of them migrating in protest to RedNote, the foreign edition of another Chinese app, Xiaohongshu. In Taiwan, TikTok is only banned from government-issued devices, those used by public servants who could have access to sensitive information. Lawmakers are still trying to figure out how to regulate the app, which doesn't officially have business operations in Taiwan.
TikTok 在台湾落地，最主要的问题是演算法不透明，资料库在境外，内容审核在境外，无论官方还是民意代表都难以及时监管。
But ordinary users in Taiwan seemed unconcerned about a potential ban of the app.
我觉得应该还会有其他类似的网站会出现，所以对我来说可能还好。
Others think it could be used as a platform to promote Taiwanese people's ideas instead of China's.
如果政府才不开放抖音，是怕被我们各国的声量来影响到我们台湾的想法的话，那我觉得它可以开放。然后，因为我们台湾的网友其实都蛮有创意的，所以现在要是开放一阵子，然后让台湾的人可以更容易了解到抖音，更容易接触到抖音，去搞不好上面的内容，台湾人创作的内容并不会比各国所创作的内容还要少。
And lawmakers agree that an outright ban is out of the question, but they say it's tricky, from balancing national security to protecting citizens' freedom and overall online safety.
我想用这样的一个方式，去用禁止的思维，我觉得还不如去思考我们如何创造我们属于中华民国台湾自己在社群服务上的竞争力。否则，只不过看到东西就不准使用，或者用禁止的方式，我想我们整体的社会智商，还有我们人民的资讯自由度，反而会受到影响。
完全的以禁止的方式来处理的话呢，不但是没有去符合比例原则，也就等于是没有去考虑刚刚讲的在不同的层次我们面临的问题应该要用怎么样的一个法律手段。所以我认为呢，依照我们现行的法律以及之后不管是美国那边的这一个采购的进行还有呢台湾这边呢还有新的自动安全管理法的规范，用这样的一个方式来管制这个所谓的这一个会对儿童有害的或者有诈欺的，甚至涉及国安的呢，这样才是一个比较妥适的方案。
With the U.S. making moves to wrestle control of TikTok and its data and keep it out of China's hands, the app may once again be at the center of national security discussions in Taiwan, too, as the debate between internet freedoms and digital safety continues. Scott Huang and Tiffany Wong in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Coming up after the break, a surprise deal between Nvidia and Intel. What could it mean for Taiwan's TSMC?
经历过人生的话，你发现说，我们大部分都是爱美的。
我自己少遇见一朵花，我可能就不是这个样子。
开始思考什么叫做一个本土性，
大声的唱出来说我是台湾人。
At Connected, we believe in the power of dialogue.
Taipei 101 station.
It's not just about the headlines, it's about finding common ground. Join the conversation.
Global semiconductor
administrations.
Connected on TaiwanPlus.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. U.S. chip designer Nvidia is teaming up with U.S. chip maker Intel. The deal will see $5 billion in new investment for Intel, as well as new products for PCs. But some have raised concerns about what it could mean for other Nvidia partners like Taiwan's TSMC. Chris Gorin reports.
A surprise deal among former rivals. U.S. chip giants Nvidia and Intel have announced a partnership. Nvidia will invest $5 billion into Intel, and the pair are working on new products for PCs and data centers. But the deal does not include any foundry agreements for manufacturing Nvidia chips in Intel's chip factories.
A lot of folks were expecting to see more like foundry deals, because I mean, the big push has really been around manufacturing, and this is not a foundry deal, this is a product deal, which I think for Intel is fine because frankly, their product business needs a lot of help too.
The new products include a system on chip for consumer PCs, combining Intel's CPUs with Nvidia's GPUs. Nvidia will also buy Intel CPUs for use in its data center rack systems. Investors were excited, with Intel stock ending up more than 22% on Thursday. Nvidia was also up nearly 3.5%. It's a big boost for Intel, which has struggled for years, but recently drew in lots of fresh money. That includes a stake from the U.S. government, which is pushing to expand high-tech manufacturing at home. Between the investments from Washington, Japanese conglomerate SoftBank, and now Nvidia, Intel has seen about $16 billion in new investments in just the last month. But it also raises questions about Nvidia's other partners, like Intel foundry rival TSMC, Taiwan's largest company. Both Intel and Nvidia are TSMC customers, and Nvidia is one of its largest. But the CEOs of both Intel and Nvidia publicly praised TSMC and stressed there is no foundry agreement in this partnership.
If I'm TSMC investors, I think I shouldn't be worried too much on this. The broader trend is more sort of, I will pay close attention to its U.S. determination in pursuing U.S. semiconductor supply chain or advanced semiconductor manufacturing. I think on that front, it's very clear, and I think it's actually realized by many investors and people in the market.
And despite the extra investment and U.S. government backing, Intel may still face challenges.
U.S.-based semiconductor manufacturing and design is important. And there are very few companies that can do leading edge manufacturing. And of the three, even in theory, Intel's the only one that's US-based. Now, in terms of making them successful, the money doesn't really do that, right? Intel has to do that on their own. I think the jury is still out on that.
The deal is a major one, but its impacts on the overall chip industry may not be seen for some time to come. Ethan Pan and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's foreign minister has joined the reopening of Taiwan's representative office in Rome.
The opening of this building is not only an international milestone, an institutional milestone, but also a symbol of hope and progress. It demonstrates our shared determination to strengthen cooperation in political, economical, and cultural fields, and to face the future together with confidence.
Lin Jialong was joined by Italy-Taiwan Parliamentary Friendship Group President Lucio Malan. The two planted a tree on the office grounds meant to symbolize the friendship between their countries. Rome does not have formal diplomatic ties with Taipei. This office serves as Taiwan's de facto embassy in Italy. Its reopening comes as Taiwan works to strengthen ties in the EU. Politicians in the United States and Canada are pushing for Taiwan's inclusion in the International Civil Aviation Organization, or ICAO, before the group meets in Montreal next week. Due to pressure from China, Taiwan is regularly excluded from the aviation group's meetings, which occur once every 3 years. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz and Canadian MPs Michael Cooper and Judy Sgro say it's time to push for Taiwan's inclusion. Although Taiwan hasn't been invited to this year's meeting, it will send a so-called ICAO action team to lobby Taiwan's case to other delegations and rally support for its participation. A major earthquake response drill has been held in Yilan and Taiwan's northeastern coast to mark National Disaster Prevention Day on September 21st. Our reporter Sandy Chi was there.
An earthquake alert went out across Taiwan on Friday at 9:21 a.m. Television stations also aired disaster warnings. But this wasn't a real emergency. It was part of annual drills. The exercise is held each year around the anniversary of the devastating Jiji or 921 earthquake on September 21st, 1999, an event that claimed more than 2,400 lives. Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te also attended this year's event to underscore its importance.
台湾每一年几乎都会碰到数次的台风。台湾呢，每隔一段时间，在不同的地点也都会碰到地震，所以国家特别将9月21日定为国家防灾日。每一年从中央到地方，共同携手合作，民间团体、各个领域的人士一起进行防灾演练。
The drills are actually being held over 3 days. And this time, they simulate a magnitude 8.5 quake in the Ryukyu Trench, east of Taiwan, followed by a tsunami that strikes Yilan in the northeast of the country. The drills covered earthquake and tsunami evacuations, shelter management, as well as first aid and rescue operations. They also showed how technology can be used in disaster response, including AI-powered drones to identify people in need of rescue, and domestically developed drones to carry and drop life buoys. Taiwan's own disaster response teams took part in the drills and were joined by experts from countries like Japan and Poland.
We were invited by Taiwanian side because we are cooperating since I think more than 1 year in some activities in Europe. So we had also visit of Taiwanian side in Poland, and we are emergency medical team who is training for disasters too, and for delivering medical help in disasters.
At the drills, President Lai says such international collaboration is key, as natural disasters are challenges faced by many countries.
当我们有需要的时候，国际社会来帮助我们；当国际社会有需要的时候，我们前往国际去帮助他们。平常的时候，互相学习、互相合作，彼此都可以提升防救灾的技能，这个是非常重要的。
A number of visitors were impressed with Taiwan's preparedness.
I was really impressed, the level of technical expertise and passion that the Taiwanese firefighters and emergency services professionals brought to the exercise. I think with anything, as we've learnt as a global community in disasters, it's that early coordination and communication is so important.
This year, over 200 disaster response experts from 14 different countries attended the drills, with some taking part directly and others observing.
The drills may only be 3 days, but its lessons last year round. Disasters may strike at any time, and being prepared is the best defense. Patrick Chen and Sunny Chi in Yilan for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Follow us on social media for more of our stories. Before we go, we're heading to Papua New Guinea, where people are celebrating the 50th anniversary of independence. I'm Yvonne Yang. Take care, and I'll see you next time.